Hello, amazing students. We're going to go ahead and go over 2.1.9 equations practice. Now, if you look at these equations, you're going to notice some of these equations are a little bit difficult. So remember, we're not an expert at it yet. Being an expert means you can do these problems with zero mistakes. So even your teachers are sometimes making mistakes, right? So be easy on yourself today. Try your best to learn these steps. Follow this roadmap, which it says right here. You see that? It says roadmap. Follow this roadmap, and let's see how far we can learn, or how far we can go as we learn how to solve equations. So go ahead and make sure to start by writing your name at the top right portion of your paper if you did not already do that. You can also write the date and also which period number you are. So, solving equations roadmap, I'm going to go ahead and follow this roadmap as I solve the example problem. Example problem number 1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and begin by, it says step 1, distribute and expand if you see it. So if you see parentheses, you're going to go ahead and want to distribute. And it says mind your negatives. That means if you have negatives, that means the negative also needs to be included. So right here we have our distribution of 3 into this parentheses. That means that everything inside of there will need to be distributed by 3. So what I like to do is I like to draw arrows. So if you can do that, please, that'd be amazing. Draw arrows where the 3 is going to be distributed into the parentheses. Remember, if there was a negative 3, we'd have to what? Yeah, carefully distribute the negative 3. For this first step, all I'm going to do is distribute. That's the only thing I'm going to do. So when I distribute this, I'll get 3 times x minus 1, but times 3. What is negative 1 times 3? Negative 1 times 3, or 3 times negative 1, is negative 3. At this point, all we need to do is write down the rest of the problem equation as it's shown on our paper. Okay, next up, it does say right here to simplify or combine like terms. So it says simplify or combine like terms to each side of the equation before doing stuff to both sides. So all we're going to do is add the like terms. I'm going to go ahead and double underline this one. You can also circle it or highlight it if you want to. Let me just show that what that would look like. We have, oh, these aren't like terms. My brain was saying those two are like terms. Are those two like terms? The answer is no. Let me go ahead and grab a highlighter now. The like terms that I have are simply negative 3 and negative 4. So negative 3 and negative 4. Remember, you can circle, highlight, or underline as you wish. So if I combine those like terms, those are the only like terms I see in my equation, what do I get? I get 3x. And what is negative 3 minus 4? Negative 3 minus 4 means go left 4 from negative 3. That'll take you to negative 7. Correct. All right, let's write down the right side of our equation exactly as it is because there's no like terms on the right side. Okay, now it says pick a side for your variable, and we're going to go ahead and, what's it say? Pick a side for your variable and stick to it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to move the x to the left side. Why do I choose the left side? What's my answer typically? My answer is typically x equals something, right? So I'm going to move my x to the left. Next up, I'm actually going to do 2 things at once. I know this is kind of an advanced step, an advanced move, but what you want to do is move anything that's not x to the other side. So we're going to do inverse operations. Just like we did x minus x is 0. we're going to do -7 plus 7 is 0 to get rid of our left side of our equation, the -7. Sorry about that. So what are we left with? 3x minus x. Okay, 3x minus x is just 2x. And what is 1 plus 7? 1 plus 7 seems pretty easy. We get 1 plus 7 is 8. Remember, we moved all the x's to the left and all the numbers to the right. Now all I need to do is one more step. I already took care of the numbers and the variables. All I need to do is do the last and final step, which is to divide or multiply by the coefficient, the number that is in front of the variable. So that 2 is bothering us. I don't want the answer of 2x. I want the answer of 1x. How do I make a 2 into a 1? Yeah, I'm going to have to divide by 2. So dividing both sides by 2, I'm going to get x equals 4. Okay, we're going to do a couple more examples just so you can get the hang of things. Remember, following these steps is not easy. So make sure you're working down the page. Try your best to line up the equal signs it says to keep your work organized. That's actually a very good point because it's so easy to make mistakes because of simple disorganization. All right, so we're going to go ahead and solve number 2 and number 3 together. So what is my first step? My first step is to, what does it say? First step, distribute. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to multiply to everything that is in parentheses. Wherever the parentheses stops, that is where I have to stop multiplying by 4. So 4 times 5x gives us 20x. And let's hope I don't make any mistakes here. 4 times -7. 4 times -7 is -28. All right, once I distribute, I'm going to write everything else exactly as it's shown. Remember, you might not understand it from the first problem. We're going to go ahead and go over 3 to see if we can get into the hang of things. Okay? Next up, I'm going to go ahead and choose where to put my x. I'm going to go ahead and, well, step 2 actually was this. What does it say? Step 2, simplify or combine like terms. Do I have any like terms on the left or right side? The answer is no. So I get to move on to the next step. Next step is to move your variable and your numbers. So I'm going to choose the left side to subtract 10x. Whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side as well, to do to both. So that's going to cross off the 10x. And again, this is an advanced move, but I'm going to go ahead and do 2 things at once. I'm going to move the -28 to the right side. All the numbers are on the right. All the numbers are on the right. And all the x's are on the left. That's my goal. Okay. So if I do the opposite of -28, what's the opposite of -28? Yes, the opposite of -28 is add 28 to both sides. So if I add 28 to both sides, that's going to eliminate the -28. Let me zoom in here. All right, my next step is to simply combine like terms now. Or it says to, what's it say? Oh, well, we're going to need to combine like terms. It doesn't mention that, but we're going to need to do 20x minus 10x. 20x minus 10x is 10x. It's like saying 20 apples minus 10 apples. That's 10 apples. And then it says 2 plus 28. 2 plus 28 happens to be 30, which is great because I know 10 times something is 30. But I'm going to do my last step, which is to divide by the coefficient of 10. If I divide by 10 to both sides, I will get my answer and I will be done. So the answer here is x equals what? 30 divided by 10. What is that? Yeah, 30 divided by 10, good job, is 3. So that is my final answer. I'm going to go ahead and box my final answer. You could definitely also do something called check your work. But for now, that is where I'm going to leave my work for number 2. Okay, we're going to do number 3, and then I'll let you try number 4, 5, 6, and 7 on your own. Okay, number 3. Number 3 says 2 times 12 minus 8x, parentheses, equals x minus 11x. Ooh, I see like terms already. But all I'm going to do is step 1, distribute. Okay, I'm going to distribute the 2. Okay, after I distribute the 2, what do I get? 2 times 12. 2 times 12 is 24. Good. Is that right? Yeah, 2 times 12 is 24. 12 times 2 is 24 as well. 2 times negative 8x. Okay, 2 times negative 8x is negative 16x. And we stop at the parentheses. Next up, we're going to write the rest of our equation exactly the way it is. Remember, this is repetition. We're getting better at it with time and practice. Okay, next up, we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. So this one is pretty cool because the left side is exactly this. It stays the same as it is. We get 24 minus 16x. You can't combine those because it's like dollars and apples. You can't combine them together. Okay, now x minus 11x. I know x minus 11x can be added together. It's like saying 1x minus 11x. 1x minus 11x happens to be negative 10x. Be very careful with those negatives, right? Did you get that? X minus 11x is actually negative 10x. Okay, next up. Well, do you have any questions about this so far? Raise your hand if you have a question so we can pause the video if we need to. Step 1, distribute. Step 2, combine like terms. The only thing I could combine was x and negative 11x. X minus 11x is negative 10x. Okay, next up, I'm going to choose, well, here's a trick, actually. I could move this to the left, but couldn't I also move this to the right? The question can be answered with the answer of yes, you could. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this 24 where it is, and we're going to move this one to the right. How do I move that to the right? What's the opposite of minus 16x? If I do minus 16x plus 16x, what do I get? Yeah. I'll repeat. When I do negative 16x plus 16x, what do I get? 0. Yeah. So whatever I do to one side, I'll have to do to the other side as well. Okay, adding 16x to both sides, we're going to get 24 equals whatever this is. Negative 10 apples plus 16 apples happens to be positive 6 apples. Or think about it this way. What's 16x minus 10x? 16 minus 10 is 6. So that is confirmed. Okay, I'm going to do my last step of just dividing by 6 to both sides to isolate my variable, get rid of the coefficient, and I will get, oops, I made a mistake. What was my mistake? Take a look at my mistake. Hey, do teachers make mistakes? The answer is yes. Yeah, I want to divide both sides by 6. Okay, 24 divided by 6 happens to be positive 4. Okay, if you did it a different way, that's great, as long as you got the answer of positive 4. Okay, I want to let you try number 4, 5, 6, and 7 really quick. I know I do have some answers already there, but I want you to try it out. And I do want to point out one thing here as well. Number 6. Number 6 has an interesting thing going on. You see how in front of the parentheses there's only a negative sign? What do you do if it's only a negative sign? I want you to try that out on your own, And we're going to go ahead and pause the video and see if we get the same answers for number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, again, for your time right now, I want you to solve number 4 to 7. Or is it 4 to 8? No, 4 to 7. Okay, so solve number 4 to 7, and let's see if we get the same answers. All right, we're going to check number 4 through 7. Number 4 is going to be an answer of 10. Did you get that? Again, remember, it's pretty easy to make mistakes with these things. So for number 4, adding like terms, you got to be very careful about adding like terms and careful with your negatives as well. 48 plus 2 should have been 50. Dividing 50 by 5, we got the answer of 10. All right, the answer for number 5 should have been -5 because there's actually something going on with this question right here. There's a -4. If you distribute a negative, that means you have to make everything inside of the parentheses opposite. So just double check. Did you get the same answer for this part of your problem? Did you say -4x minus 28, or did you say -4x plus 28? Because if you said plus 28, did you really distribute the -4? Okay, so be very careful. Distribute -4 in to get your answer. Okay, so just go ahead and take some time to write that down. If you got a different answer, take some time to write that down. Okay, we're going to go ahead and also check number 7. Check number 7. I'll let you try and write down that one down as well if you didn't. The answer for number 7 should have been x equals 2, unless I made a mistake. Okay. And lastly, we're going to check number 6. Okay, so in about 30 seconds, we're going to check number 6. All right, take a couple more seconds, a few more seconds to make sure you have this written down. If you got a different answer, just make sure you find out what your mistake is. All right, we're going to bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, so this next one, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we have the answer for number 6. Let's pretend number 6 is the most important problem on our page. Okay, that's why I put a star on it. It's because there's an easy way to make a mistake on number 6. So I wanted to check it with you, okay? So let's see. If I distribute the negative, and that's right. Remember how I asked you, what do you do if there's only a negative? If I distribute the negative, that means everything inside of the parentheses here, everything in there becomes opposite. So what would be the opposite of 9? Yeah, negative times 9 is -9. What's negative 3x? Or what's the opposite of -3x? The opposite of -3x, you said it. A few of you said it. The answer would be positive 3x. Okay, let's keep going. So our next step is going to be combining like terms. On the left side, we're going to see that 4x and 3x can be combined together. 4 apples plus 3 apples is 7 apples. And everything else stays the same. We have a -9 there. We also have an 8x minus 1 on the right side. Okay, again, remember, are you going to be an expert today? An expert means you can solve easily 15, 20 problems without any mistakes. But even the experts make mistakes, so try your best to try to understand it. If you don't understand it, try to watch the video over and over again until you feel like you got a grasp of how to solve it. Okay, next up, our next problem is going to be to get x's on the left side. Let me show that again. X's on the left side, if you choose that side. And then we want to have our numbers on the right side. So if I move my 8x to the left or my 7x to the right, carefully, right? You'll have to move the numbers to the opposite side. So I'm going to do something weird. I know some people might say, hey, 7x minus 8x is negative. But if I do 8x minus 7x, it'll be positive. Well, either way, if you do it correctly, you will get the correct answer. There's multiple ways to solve it, but I'm going to choose to subtract 8x to the left side. And I'm going to choose to do what? Yeah, add 9 to the right side. Either way, you should get the same answer. Remember, if you did it differently than me, that's fine. We might get the same answer still. Okay, so 7x minus 8x. 7x minus 8x is negative 1x, but we're just going to say negative x. And on the right side, we have negative 1 plus 9. Negative 1 plus 9 is 8. All right, we're in a dilemma. We have negative x equals 8. What does that even mean? We can have a giant question mark, and that would be okay. But I want you to know what to do in this situation. If negative x equals positive 8, what does positive x equal? Yeah, it sounds weird. If negative x equals positive 8, what would positive x equal? Yeah, we're going to have to do something to make the signs switch. So there's two ways to figure this out. You can either multiply by negative 1 to both sides. That would work. Or you can divide by negative 1. Negative 1 is just our unit number. So if we divide by it, nothing really happens except for if it's negative. If it's negative, the switch happens. Negative negative becomes positive. And what's a positive negative? Yeah, 8 divided by negative 1 happens to be negative 8. And that is our final answer. So if you got that right, that is awesome. If you got at least one of these right, we're on the right track. If you got multiple right, that is even better. But remember, it's not easy. That's why we're doing something called practice. All right. So if you have the back side of your page, you're going to want to solve number 8 through 13 on your own. Try your best. But if you have this side only, that is where we're going to stop. All right, amazing student. Good job.